Okay, we should be live now. Can everyone hear me? Let me just check real quick if everything's okay.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Cool. Me too. I can hear you as well. Okay, we'll start off the AMA session. Hello everyone. This is Jared from Prominence Games. I am the lead of partnerships here. And today we have a very special guest, Matthew from Bigtime. Just a quick introduction about Bigtime. We've done an AMA before with Bigtime back in I think it's December now. Funnily enough, both of us haven't joined our respective companies yet. Well, things move really quickly, right? And the
Yeah,
development of Big Time is also, has moved really quickly. Since then, I think when we did the AMA the first time around, we didn't even have, um, uh, Alpha just launched, so we didn't even have a working game, right? But now with Alpha, we've got the Gold Passes, the Jade Passes, and all that. It's full, underway, and that's something we're going to be talking about today. So, Matthew, would you like to introduce yourself?
for sure. So my name's Matt. I've been with Big Time since December of 2021, and I work mostly with guilds, and I do a lot of our social media engagement as well.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So for our new viewers or viewers that haven't seen our big time AMA before, maybe we should introduce a big time, some basic information about big time. Things like the team behind it, what inspired the game. Yep.
great. Yeah, so for people who are not as familiar with what Big Time is, it's an MMORPG for PCs. By the time global launch comes around, it will be a free-to-play game, never pay to win, and it's the first AAA rated game on blockchain. So pretty different than some of the other stuff that's out there right now. And when you asked about what inspired the team to come up with it, so going back a few years ago, it was Ari and Thor, who were both central founders at Decentraland, which I think was one of the
Mm.
first
Yep.
blockchain games. So real visionaries in the space. Well, they saw, hey, there's some serious problems out there with blockchain games. Some of them are like the high barriers to entry. It was really expensive. The gameplay wasn't super sophisticated,
Hmm.
and they perhaps weren't taking the best advantage of all the blockchain technology out there. So taking that all together is how they conceptualized some of the fundamentals of Big Time, and then
Mm.
they added a cool storyline on top of it, and that's what led us to the game that you see today.
Awesome. So as I mentioned earlier, actually, big time pre-alpha, it's out there now. You can actually play the game if you have a pass. And for this AMA, actually, we've been very generously gifted 5 Ruby passes to give away to the community. More info about that later after the stream. But yeah, you have a chance to actually access the game right now. So let's talk a bit about big time in terms of its NFTs.
Mhm.
NFT GameFi kind of synonymous, right? How do NFTs work in big time?
So we do things a little bit differently. There are two categories of NFTs inside of Big Time. There's cosmetic and there's utility. The cosmetic ones are skins, which get dropped as loot inside the game as you beat enemy. So broadly speaking, the more advanced the enemy is that you beat, the higher level the NFTs that you find. And these skins are things like they look like weapons or armors, so on and so forth, and they allow you to customize your character so that you have your own individual appearance. Really, really for a good dose of peacocking.
Mm.
Then you have your utility NFTs, which is like space. For us, space is like our land NFT. It's really a
Mm.
private user area. And when you have utility NFTs, you can craft and upgrade those cosmetic ones that you find inside the game, and you can level them up, add kind of your own aspect to them as well. And additionally, by having space, that's how you're able to collect the in-game token as well.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
So in other words, space. If you own space, you kind of unlock firstly the play to earn functionality, so you can earn tokens, and secondly, you get to customize, you get to craft gear. Am I right? Did I summarize that okay?
that's correct. Yeah, that's the utility part of it. But I
Awesome.
feel I would be remiss if I didn't mention that even if you don't have space, you can still earn on Big Time. You're really
Okay.
doing more of play and earning rather than playing to earn.
Yep.
And that's because those NFTs you find inside the game, you can put onto the marketplace yourself, but you're not going to be able to level them up unless you have space.
I see. I see. That's really cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier a little bit about how big time is a little bit different. You talked about AAA gaming and some of the competition not fully utilizing blockchain technology. Would you care to elaborate a bit more about that?
Yeah. So I think we do a few things differently and in my opinion a little bit better than some of the other blockchains that are out there right now. So when by the time global launch comes out, and that's in about 10 to 12 weeks from now,
Mm,
it's going to be a free to play game, which I think is really different, especially for blockchain. It's not going to be pay to win. So even
mm,
if you're a user who doesn't have a lot of upfront money, you're still going to be able to compete at the highest levels.
mm,
It's AAA graphics and story play, which is a big step up from some of the other games that are out there right now. And we really focused on being a game first
mm.
with some NFTs inside of it as opposed to playing a smart contract with a spritzing of a game inside of it. That's
Yep.
really where we see our identity, mostly as a game first. I
Mm,
think we've done a good job of building a pretty immersive game with a storyline that users are going to want to get really involved with and really immersed with. And that's another thing I think is a little bit different than some of the other blockchain games out there right now.
yep. That's really
Yeah.
cool to hear. I think most of us here would agree. A lot of the focus with other blockchain games is the earning aspect first. Even as players, when you go in, most of us are thinking about, okay, how can I earn this game? Because
Mhm.
it's a big distinction to say play to earn versus play and earn. And I think Big Time is going in the right direction with being a game first, being fun to play, being free to play, not pay to win, and
Mm.
but there is a potential there to earn some money on the side as well. I think that's a really good way to go about it for the long term. You're right. The longevity of the game and making sure that it's fun to retain the player base. I think it's a really good direction. Awesome. Now to the next question here. This is a bit more kind of bigger picture question. We've been seeing a lot of hate for gaming NFTs, not within the crypto community, of course, but within just kind of the larger Web2 gaming community. That there's some resistance there to NFT gamings and blockchain, even blockchain technology in games. Um, how do you think that would change? Will it change in the future, or do you think this is sort of you know they don't really want to come into this space, or they're trying to reject this?
Yeah, incorporating NFTs into AAA rated games has been a real challenge, I think, for some of the other companies out there, particularly the veterans of gaming. And they've struggled. And I feel like it's been less of a technological problem and more of a cultural acceptance where some
Mm,
hardcore gamers are like, hey, I don't like these things. I think they're complicated. I don't want to set up a MetaMask. I think
mm,
they're a Ponzi scheme. I don't want to get rugged.
mm,
And as we engage with a lot of uh, hardcore gamers about what they did or didn't like about NFTs, I found that the problem was less with blockchain gaming and more the way that blockchain had been used in games. And there is a difference. In that, if you built a game that used blockchain appropriately, I think you can really bring in those hardcore Web 2 gamers.
mm,
Um, and right off the bat, when you say, "Hey, it's a free-to-play game," you don't even need the NFTs to start playing it or to be successful inside of it. I think that takes away a lot of the trepidation people have
mm,
over blockchain gaming. So right off the bat, I think it's a little bit different.
mm,
In the future, I think gaming companies are going to have to incorporate NFTs in some way when you have skins like in Fortnite where people spend a lot of money but they can't remove that asset out of the game,
mm.
they really can't do much with it.
Yep,
It's almost as if they're spending money to rent something from the gaming company.
yep,
Well, we all know that blockchain technology allows you to give ownership on that
yep.
and to move it on chain, to move it onto wallets and indexes, and that's I think they're just going to need to incorporate those types of features more.
Awesome. So I think that's a great way to attract definitely the Web2 hardcore gamers, as you said. Are there other ways Big Time is thinking about attracting more long-term users, both crypto and non-crypto players? Is this something that Big Time has considered? I mean, sure they've considered that, but how would you go about doing this in the long run?
I think the big time gamble, like what we really went for was to bring in Web 2 gamers more into Web 3. So by doing that, we think we can really expand the player base out there and then look for those monthly active user rates that are closer with major AAA games like Genshin Impact and Fortnite
Mm,
that are just several orders of magnitude higher than what you would see in something even like an Axie Infinity, which has a lot of monthly users. So to do that, we built a gaming and marketplace experience in Big
mm,
Time that Web 2 gamers are familiar with, and it allows them to get involved with NFTs and to play a blockchain game almost without them knowing that they're playing a blockchain game. So
mm.
that goes from little things like, hey, you can sign up for the marketplace using a Google account. Your all your exchanges can happen inside of Big Time. You don't need to set up a wallet. You don't need to even understand how OpenSea works. You can do that all inside the game. Now, if you are a sophisticated NFT user, that's all there, and you're going to be able to
Mm.
enable those features. But the main thing was for us to have a lot of players in there, and for that, we needed to make sure it was a very user-friendly experience that doesn't involve them doing a lot of the NFT related things that people find uncomfortable.
That's really cool, and I think that reminds me of something. For those of us that are playing fighting games before, I think with a lot of the modern fighting games, nowadays you have this almost feature where you can, you know how in the old school fighting games the execution of the combinations are really difficult. But nowadays, there's an option for newer players to kind of press one button to execute a big ultimate, where that would take lots and lots and lots of hours of practice to really execute well. But of
Yeah.
course, at a cost, you do less damage. And I think it's the same kind of philosophy here. You lower the barrier to entry,
hmm
and once you get them in with how good the gameplay is, with how NFTs are, you hope to retain them that way. And I think it's a really good way to approach this whole problem with transition, onboarding Web 2 gamers into Web 3, because I know for sure when I first started into crypto, having to deal with a whole bunch of different chains and wallets and what's compatible, what's not, it's a hassle. It's really a hassle. So I think that's a really good way to go about it. Great, great, awesome. Now we talked about the NFT, we talked about the marketplace, we talked about how we can onboard Web 2 gamers. Let's talk a bit about the tokenomics behind Big Time. How would I go about earning tokens? We spoke a bit about the NFTs in space, right? Letting you earn tokens. Can you elaborate more about that?
Yeah. So the we do tokenomics pretty differently than in other games. So to collect the token inside of Big Time, you need to have space, and then you need to have a thing called an hourglass enabled.
Right.
And when you do that, it basically sets a countdown timer for you that allows you, as you play the game, to pick up the token as you're playing. So the token for us only comes from in-game play. There's no IDO, there's no IDC, and it's not tied to governance as well. So it's fundamentally pretty different. The idea there is that we want people to use the token inside of the game,
Mm,
and that way it kind of encourages people to stay inside of the game. And that again kind of builds on the learning experience we saw with other games who have either multiple tokens
mm,
or some sort of an incentive that encourages users to take token outside of the game.
mm.
And that's a long-term kind of sustainability problem
Yep.
because we want people to kind of continuously grow over here. We don't want them to view this as like a short term thing where they're going to pump and dump and then eventually leave the game. We want a stable environment.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So if I understand you correctly, it's an in-game currency with the tokens, correct? And that will kind of be used on the marketplace, but in between, kind of within the ecosystem itself, the game ecosystem itself. Did we lose Matthew there for a second? Actually,
Think am I back yet? I apologize for that.
no worries, no worries. You're back now. Cool.
Okay. I think I was having some low resolution, so
Yeah,
trying to fix
no
that,
worries, no worries. Okay, we're back
of
again.
course.
Um, Yeah, so I was talking about your kind of one token system, right? Within
Yes.
the gaming ecosystem itself, that's really different from what we've seen. Um, so from a scholar perspective, or from someone who's a bit more concerned about making some money off of big time,
Mhm.
uh, and we as a guild, as a company, we definitely commend the long term vision. Um, but the fact is, a lot of people are going to be concerned about the earning aspect of this, right? So, am I to understand that really the opportunity there comes from the NFTs, selling the assets on the marketplace? Is that where the earning opportunity is?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. So if you look at Big Time right now, it's Gold Pass holders who are in the game, and the way that a lot of them are playing is they're they've obviously enabled their gold pass. They're playing in the early part of the game, and then they're collecting NFTs as they play. Correspondingly, they're taking some of those NFTs and putting them onto the marketplace, and people are buying them. They're selling their own, and there's a pretty lively amount of transaction that goes on there every day. So that's a way that I've seen some of the players doing it so far. That's during early access. During early access, there's no space enabled. None of the guild features are going to be enabled yet. So there's certainly going to be more ways for people to get involved to upgrade their own, to put those onto the marketplace and do fellow exchanges. And then perhaps most importantly, the token is going to be enabled during global launch. There's no token drops right now. So those are all a variety of different ways we've seen users discussing how they're gonna get involved in big time.
Awesome, awesome. Yep. Okay, we're actually gonna do one giveaway right now.
Great.
We're gonna change the screen here. Let's see. Cool. I can't quite see his name over here. Are you able to see this? Matrix 03. Genetrics.
That's
Okay,
perfect.
Genetrics 03. Congratulations, you have won a pass. We're doing a bit different this time around. We're not looking for questions and rewarding good questions based on that. We're kind of doing a bit more of a raffle kind of thing. So congratulations. Yes. So we're doing two giveaways with the raffle here on this YouTube, and then we're doing three more on our Discord channel. So if you want to win a pass, if you don't get it here, there are two we're going to give away on our YouTube. We're doing three more on our Discord. Okay, we'll link the Discord link after the stream. Do go on our Discord and contact one of our community managers, Hiro or Irumi. Don't worry, all this information will be there after the stream. But then there are three more passes on Discord. Okay, so don't be disheartened if you don't win one here. Okay, moving
Great.
on. Uh, Great. And you mentioned over there actually something about guilds. So as a guild, I'm gonna have to ask this question.
Of
Uh,
course.
you know what's coming. How would I how does the scholarship system look like? How does that look like right now? The guild management system.
So we haven't released a lot of our guild management details yet, and that's by design. So we've talked broadly about how space is going to work, the NFTs are going to work, but we haven't dived into all of the details yet. In part because we're going through final testing of it right now. We've got a really rock solid team of mathematicians and economists who are doing the final stress testing on our economy, because we know once we launch the game, we're pretty committed to that economy, and we want to make sure it's sustainable and enjoyable for everybody. So that being said, we do know that guilds are a prominent part of blockchain gaming, and if you look at some of our early investors, they're big. Prominence is great. They're a
Yep.
big early partner. So we know that we have to make effective blockchain type methods in there. There's a couple ways I've seen guilds discuss how they want to get involved, but I think it goes back to a very simple core loop of uh, players out there collecting NFTs and bringing them back to some sort of space that's owned by a guild, and that
Mm,
guild then upgrades those things and then either puts them onto the marketplace, and then correspondingly they enable that hourglass feature for players, which allows those players to then go collect the token. So basically players give up their NFTs in exchange, they get the hourglass enabled, which allows them to do a token. some of that may change by the time we
Mm,
get to the actual game launch. Everybody's going to kind of optimize a little bit differently. That's some of the things I've seen discussed so far with guilds. But looking forward to other creative ways that guilds see to not only play the game but to expand their player and scholarship base.
that's really interesting, and I think that's a challenge that Prominence Games is up for. Um, and I think this is something also with MMOs in general, right? I feel like there's always a bit of a theory crafting element to it. How do I optimize this? How to optimize that? In this case, with blockchain gaming, how do I optimize the earning opportunity? And that's great. We're up for a challenge, and we look forward to expanding our scholarship system here
Yeah.
on Big Time once it launches. Um, and with regards to that, what does the long term kind of roadmap look like? So I know the early access is now. You mentioned the global launch is in a couple of weeks, 12 weeks. You said. Um,
Yeah.
what's beyond that? What's next on the roadmap?
So, I think when we announced early access period back in January or February or so, we said it was going to be 10 weeks. I'm here and telling you it's going to be longer than that. I think it's going to be at least 12 weeks. So that's important, I think, for users to kind of understand. And it's not for any kind of negative developments in the game. It's just to make sure we're able to address all the bugs and to make sure that when we launch, it's as good of a launch as possible. So in probably another 10 to 12 weeks from now, that's when global launch might happen. That's where all the guild features are going to be enabled. We're going to continue to engage with our community, gauge player feedback, and then do our best to incorporate things and changes into the marketplace, into the game as we get it. Beyond that, it's kind of up in the air. But what I can say is that when we launched Big Time Studios, it was with the aspiration that Big Time was going to be the first game kind of in the flagship. In the
Okay,
future, we'd love to have more games under the Big Time Studios banner, but more to follow on that one. But that's big time because the team is honestly super focused right now on making sure that Big Time is a successful launch and people are having a good time while they're playing it.
that's really exciting. More games to come, perhaps. Okay,
Perhaps, yeah.
yeah. At this point, we have another giveaway for the raffle. Sorry, my bad. We're actually going to show you guys some footage of what gameplay looks like in Big Time right now.
Right. Awesome. So right now we're just kind of flashing through the veterans where some of our developers came from. And this is just a brief overview of some actual in-game graphics of these are our four character classes. We have four. There's that play to earn aspect with the token inside of it for your guilds and your scholars out there. They're running through the features of how you can customize your characters. So you have base characters, but you can do a ton to customize them. That was a quick shot of what space will look like. Almost
Awesome.
looks like a castle or a house. These are the cosmetic NFTs you can pick up. Yes, that is a dinosaur, and yes, they are going to be inside of the game. Yes, we have heard your feedback, so we know some people are going to want to ride those things. But that was
Oh,
quick. There
that's
was a lot of
awesome.
content that came at you right
That
there.
is
But that's
awesome.
yeah, that's a pretty good shot of some of our in-game footage, as well as some of the other things we've teased so far, like those quick shots of space.
Yeah, yeah. So the space looks like almost like a guild house, is it?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It's supposed to be an individualized, customizable area.
Right.
So, I've used a variety of different metaphors. I'm like, hey, it's almost like a castle.
Mm,
It almost looks like a house that you build in The Sims where you can customize all the furniture and move stuff around, and that's by design. So it's like a land NFT, but it's non-locality based. So
mm.
it's not like I can go running in the game and run past Jared's space and play Ding Dong Ditch. Um, it's your own individual private area, and then you can
Right.
customize the thing inside of it, like putting your own NFTs inside of it. So that's how we were able to incorporate some of the other cool parts of blockchain into it.
Awesome, awesome. And mounts as well, because I definitely want to ride that T-Rex right there.
Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah.
I think a user said they saw a saddle on some of the dinosaurs and some of the footage we've leaked so far. So
Oh, that's
some
a good
pretty
catch.
astute observations. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. Now at this point, we're going to give away the second raffle for the stream. Let's see who the lucky winner is. We've got here. Sorry, I can't read this name. His name is. Can you read this? A little bit small for me. Chase. Sorry, can you read that out to me? Adams Hiroshi Mabato. Congratulations, you've got the second pass here. The second one out of five. Don't forget, guys, there are three more. You just got to come into our Discord channel and hit up one of our community managers for the last three. So congratulations. Awesome. Okay. That kind of concludes things. That's a quick 30-minute kind of overview about Big Time, inspiration behind it, tokenomics, gameplay, what else, what's on the roadmap beyond this, and some of the bigger picture kind of approaches that Big Time, has adopted in terms of sustainability, stabilizing the economy, and things like that. That's really good information. Um, cool. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Matthew, at this point?
So we're going through early access right now, and I think that's probably the only other thing we didn't have a ton of time to dive in. But I thought
Right.
I think overall it's going pretty well. Um, Gold Pass has been going for about 2.5 weeks now, and then the next step for us is incorporating those Silver Pass holders. But it's been a good learning experience, and I think probably for anybody who's seeing some of the gameplay footage that's coming out, just know that this is still an early access game. There's still some bugs inside of it, but it's getting better pretty much every day. So we love that feedback we get from the players.
Awesome. So gold pass done. We have silver coming up. I think there's jade as well, and then ruby passes. Correct.
That's
So
correct. Yeah,
awesome. So five passes giveaway, guys. Just want to reiterate again. There are two on this stream that have been given away. There are three more. You just got to come into our Discord channel. I believe the link should be in the chat. And hit up one of our community managers. Okay. Awesome. With that, that's the end of the stream. That's the end of the AMA. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you, Matthew,
it's
for
been
your
great.
time.
It's been great being on here. Thank you so much for the great conversation and for your engaged community. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. See you.
All right, guys. Have a good one.